I thought I had found the one in Amanda. For 2 years, our relationship was everything I could have hoped for. We shared dreams, built memories, and planned a future together. Then Amanda made a new best friend at work, Jenna. At first, I welcomed her into our circle. But soon, Jenna started pointing out my supposed red flags to Amanda. When Amanda finally broke things off, listing all these fabricated flaws, I surprised both of them with my calm acceptance. I simply walked away. If you have ever had someone try to destroy your relationship, drop your story below. And while you are getting ready to hear what happened next, hit that like and subscribe button because this story takes a twist nobody saw coming. I am Baldwin, a 32-year-old software engineer. I have always been dedicated to my career, working my way up after some struggles in my early 20s. 3 years ago, I met Amanda at my college buddy Ryan's housewarming party. She was 28, working in marketing, and had the most infectious laugh I had ever heard. Our connection was instant. We bonded over our shared love of hiking old sci-fi movies and trying different cuisines. Our values aligned too. We both wanted to build stable careers before settling down, both dreamed of traveling extensively, and both valued honesty above all else in relationships. Our relationship progressed naturally. We dated for 6 months before becoming exclusive. At the 1-year mark, we moved in together. Our apartment became a home filled with photos of our weekend trips to the mountains, souvenirs from our vacation to the Pacific Northwest, and furniture we had carefully chosen together. I prided myself on being a thoughtful partner. I remembered the little things like surprising Amanda with her favorite wildflowers when she had a tough week at work. When she mentioned a book she wanted to read, I would find a first edition. When she was sick, I made her grandmother's chicken soup recipe that she had taught me. Amanda had a close-knit circle of friends that quickly became mine too. There was Sarah, her friend since college, who was supportive and kind. Troy, the group jokester who organized our game nights. And Greg and Lisa, the married couple, who often invited us over for dinner parties. We all got along well, supporting each other through job changes, relationship ups and downs, and life challenges. Everything changed 6 months ago when Jenna joined Amanda's marketing team. Amanda came home excited one day, telling me about this amazing new coworker who had just moved to the city and did not know anyone. Being the caring person Amanda was, she invited Jenna to our next group hangout. Jenna was 29, stylish, confident, and immediately charming. I made an effort to welcome her, showing her around our apartment, asking about her move and making sure she felt included in our friend group conversations. She seemed grateful, and I was happy that Amanda had made a new friend at work. Within weeks, Jenna and Amanda became inseparable. They had lunch together every day, started taking yoga classes together, and suddenly our couple evenings were frequently interrupted by urgent calls from Jenna needing Amanda for some crisis or another. I started noticing subtle changes. Amanda began canceling our date nights for last-minute girls' nights with Jenna. When I cooked dinner, Jenna would often be invited without any heads up. I tried to be understanding. After all, having friendships outside of our relationship was healthy. But then Amanda's behavior toward me began to shift. She became more critical of habits she had previously found endearing. My organized approach to our finances, which she had appreciated before, was suddenly labeled as obsessive. My need for quiet time after intense workdays was no longer respected as self-care, but criticized as being distant. The turning point came when I overheard a conversation between them in our kitchen. I had come home early from work, and they did not hear me enter. Jenna's voice was clear as she told Amanda, "You know you could do so much better than Baldwin, right? He is holding you back from living your best life. He is just so boring and set in his ways." I stood frozen in the hallway, unable to believe what I was hearing. Amanda's response was what truly broke my heart. "Maybe you are right. I have been thinking the same thing lately." I retreated quietly and took a walk around the neighborhood to process what I had heard. Something was very wrong, and I needed to figure out how to address it. The next day, I tried to have an honest conversation with Amanda about my concerns. I mentioned that I felt there had been a shift in our relationship and asked if everything was okay. Her response startled me. "You are just being controlling, Baldwin. I am finally having fun with a friend who understands me. Why are you trying to make me feel guilty about that?" I was confused. This did not sound like the Amanda I knew. It sounded like someone else's words coming out of her mouth. Over the next few weeks, I watched in dismay as Jenna systematically reframed every aspect of my personality as a red flag. My careful financial planning, which had allowed us to build a healthy savings account and take nice vacations, was now described as me being cheap and controlling with money. Amanda began criticizing my budget spreadsheet that she had previously appreciated for giving us financial security. My occasional need for alone time to recharge after social events, something Amanda had always respected before, was now labeled as me being emotionally unavailable. When I explained that introverts need time to recharge, she accused me of making excuses for not wanting to spend time with her. One of my closest work colleagues is female. Hannah and I have been friends since college, and she has been in a happy relationship with her girlfriend for years. Suddenly, this platonic friendship was painted by Jenna as inappropriate. I found Amanda checking my phone messages when she thought I was not looking. My dedication to my career became another target. As a software engineer working on an important project, I occasionally needed to put in extra hours. This had never been an issue before. Amanda herself often had busy periods at work. But now, thanks to Jenna's influence, my work ethic was characterized as workaholic behavior and an unwillingness to prioritize our relationship. Perhaps most hurtful was how my conflict resolution style was twisted. I have always believed in discussing problems calmly rather than arguing. My father had a terrible temper, and I had promised myself I would never be that way. Amanda had previously said she loved how we could discuss issues without yelling. Now, under Jenna's influence, she called my approach passive-aggressive and accused me of emotional manipulation for not getting angry. I started noticing that Amanda was repeating criticisms of me that sounded exactly like Jenna's voice. Phrases Jenna used would come out of Amanda's mouth verbatim days later, as if she had been coached on what to say. Things came to a head at a dinner with our friend group. Jenna had been integrated into our circle by this point, though Sarah and Troy had privately expressed to me that something seemed off about her. During dinner, I shared news about a promotion I had received at work. Instead of congratulating me, Jenna immediately said, "I bet that means even less time for Amanda Wright." Before I could respond, she continued, "That is such a typical Baldwin move, always putting work first." I saw Amanda nodding along as our other friends shifted uncomfortably in their seats. When I tried to explain that the promotion actually meant more flexibility in my schedule, Jenna cut me off with a laugh, saying, "Sure it does. We will believe that when we see it." After that dinner, I reached out to Sarah to get her perspective. She confirmed what I had suspected. "You do not seem like yourself lately, Amanda. Ever since Jenna came into the picture, you have been different. More judgmental, less patient. I tried talking to her about it, but she got defensive. Troy was more blunt. That Jenna chick has some weird hold over Amanda, man. I do not trust her." But Greg and Lisa were hesitant to get involved, saying relationships are complicated, and they did not want to take sides. The final blow came on a Tuesday evening. Amanda came home from work with a cold, determined expression I had never seen before. She sat me down at our kitchen table, the same one where we had shared countless meals and conversations, and pulled out her phone with a list of problems in our relationship. "I am not happy anymore, Baldwin. I have been thinking about this for a while, and I see now that there are too many red flags I have been ignoring." She proceeded to list them all. I was emotionally unavailable. I was controlling with money. I put work before her. I had inappropriate relationships with female friends. I was passive-aggressive. The list went on each point, clearly influenced by Jenna's perspective. When she finished, she looked at me expectantly, perhaps waiting for me to beg or argue. Instead, I felt a strange sense of calm. The woman sitting across from me was no longer the Amanda I had fallen in love with. She had become someone else entirely, someone who had allowed another person to redefine her perception of our relationship. I simply said, "If that is how you truly feel, then maybe we should break up." The surprise on her face was evident. She had expected me to fight for the relationship, to try to convince her she was wrong. Instead, I stood up, told her I would pack some essential items and stay with my brother Jack, while we figured out next steps regarding our apartment lease and shared possessions. I did not raise my voice. I did not beg. I maintained my dignity as I packed a suitcase with clothes for the week, my laptop, and a few personal mementos. Amanda watched in silence, perhaps realizing for the first time that actions have consequences. As I headed for the door, she finally spoke. "That is it. You are just leaving." I turned to her and said, "I am not going to fight to be with someone who no longer sees my value. Amanda, I hope you find what you are looking for." The next few weeks were among the hardest of my life. Staying in my brother Jack's spare room, I would lie awake at night, replaying our relationship, wondering where things had gone wrong. Had I been blind to my own faults? Was I really the person Jenna had described? I lost my appetite going through the motions at work while feeling empty inside. Our friend group fractured. Some, like Sarah and Troy, reached out to check on me. Others seemed to assume I must have done something terrible for Amanda to end things so abruptly. Social media became a minefield, so I deactivated my accounts temporarily to give myself space to heal. The days immediately after the breakup were a blur. I went through the motions at work, thankful that my project required enough focus to temporarily distract me from the pain. Nights were the hardest. In Jack's guest room, I would stare at the ceiling, replaying moments from our relationship, searching for signs I might have missed. Had I been too controlling with money? I had always been careful, yes, but that had allowed us to build savings while still enjoying life. Was I emotionally unavailable? I needed alone time occasionally, but I had always been there for Amanda when it truly mattered. The questions tormented me. My brother Jack became my rock during this time. A straight-talking construction foreman, he had little patience for what he called manipulative games. "These red flags are bull, Baldwin," he told me one evening as we shared beers on his porch. "I have seen you with Amanda for 2 years. You were good to her. This Jenna person sounds like she had an agenda from day one." I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Marshall, who helped me gain perspective. He pointed out that healthy relationships do not suddenly crumble because of outside influence, unless there were already significant problems. He also noted that all the so-called red flags appeared only after Jenna entered the picture. "You need to consider the possibility that this was not about your shortcomings, Baldwin," he said. "Sometimes people allow others to influence them in unhealthy ways. That reflects on them, not on you." Gradually, I began focusing on self-improvement rather than self-doubt. I established a routine at the gym, pushing my body when my mind would not rest. I signed up for cooking classes, something I had always wanted to do but never made time for. I reconnected with old friends who knew me before Amanda. 3 weeks after the breakup, I heard from Sarah. She called to check on me, but also shared some interesting information. "I thought you should know that Jenna has basically moved into your old apartment," she said hesitantly. "She is staying over almost every night. Amanda says it is because Jenna is having roommate problems, but something feels off about the whole situation." I thanked Sarah for letting me know, but did not dwell on it. Whatever was happening between Amanda and Jenna was no longer my concern. I was focused on rebuilding my life. Then came the text that changed everything. It was nearly midnight when my phone lit up with a message from an unsaved number. I almost ignored it, but something made me look. "Baldwin, it is Jenna. I know I am probably the last person you want to hear from, but we need to talk. You deserve better than Amanda. Can I meet you for coffee tomorrow?" I stared at the message in disbelief. What kind of game was she playing? After deliberating for hours, curiosity won out. I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop downtown, a place I had never been with Amanda. Jenna was already there when I arrived, nervously fidgeting with a napkin. She looked different, somehow less confident than I remembered. "Thank you for coming," she began. "I owe you an explanation and an apology." What followed was a confession that left me stunned. Jenna admitted that she had deliberately sabotaged my relationship with Amanda. She had been attracted to Amanda from the first day they met and had methodically worked to break us up so she could pursue Amanda herself. "I studied psychology in college," she explained, not meeting my eyes. "I know how to plant doubts, how to reframe positive traits as negative ones. I saw how good you were to her, and I knew I had to make her see you differently if I was going to have a chance." She described her calculated approach, how she would casually mention red flags about past relationships that mirrored my behaviors, how she would sigh and express concern after I left the room, how she would selectively focus on minor disagreements Amanda and I had and blow them out of proportion. The most shocking part came next. Jenna and Amanda were now dating. They had begun a relationship just days after Amanda and I broke up. "But I feel terrible about how it happened," Jenna said, tears forming in her eyes. "You did not deserve that. Amanda did not even question any of it. She just accepted everything I said about you." That made me realize she might do the same to me someday. I sat in stunned silence, processing this information. Part of me wanted to lash out to tell Jenna exactly what I thought of her manipulation. Instead, I simply asked, "Why are you telling me this now?" She looked down. "Because I realized I do not want a relationship built on lies, and because Amanda is already showing signs of being easily influenced by others. Last week, her cousin said something negative about me, and suddenly Amanda was distant for days. I got a taste of my own medicine, I guess." I stood up, leaving my untouched coffee on the table. "You two deserve each other," I said, and walked out. Later that day, Amanda called. She was angry, having heard from Jenna about our meeting. "How dare you meet with my girlfriend behind my back?" she demanded. "Your girlfriend," I repeated, the irony not lost on me. "So Jenna manipulates you into dumping me, immediately starts dating you. And I am the problem here. You drove me away with your behavior, Baldwin," she insisted. "Jenna just helped me see the truth." That was when I realized that Amanda was not the person I thought she was. She was willing to rewrite our entire history, rather than admit she had been manipulated. She was choosing to believe a version of events that absolved her of responsibility. "That is not what happened, Amanda, and I think you know that," I said calmly. "But it does not matter anymore. I hope you two are happy together. Truly." After ending the call, I sat in my car in the parking lot of Jack's apartment complex. For the first time since the breakup, I allowed myself to really feel everything. The betrayal, the anger, the grief. Tears came and I did not fight them. I let myself break down completely, knowing this was part of the healing process. A month passed, and the fog of heartbreak began to lift. I signed a lease on a new apartment, a fresh start in a different neighborhood. I bought new furniture, choosing items that reflected my taste, and creating a space that felt truly mine. Unexpectedly, several of our mutual friends reached out after learning the truth about what happened. Sarah invited me for coffee and apologized for not seeing the situation more clearly. "I should have said something when I first noticed Jenna's behavior," she admitted. "The way she would undermine you when you were not around, how she would pull Amanda away whenever you two were having a good time together. I just did not want to seem jealous of their friendship." Troy was more direct when we met up for drinks. "That was some manipulative garbage, man. For what it is worth, Greg and Lisa feel the same way. None of us are hanging out with them anymore." Their support meant a lot, but I had already decided to focus on moving forward rather than dwelling on the past. I developed new routines, finding a local coffee shop where I could work remotely, joining a hiking group to explore trails on weekends, and volunteering at a tech mentorship program for high school students. Through the process, I reflected on both the good and bad aspects of my relationship with Amanda. We had shared genuine love and created beautiful memories together. But I also recognized that someone who could be so easily turned against me perhaps did not truly know or value me in the first place. There had been red flags about Amanda that I had missed, ironically enough. 6 months after our breakup, I ran into Amanda at a grocery store. It was bound to happen eventually in a city of this size. She looked tired, less vibrant than I remembered. After an awkward hello, she asked if we could talk for a moment. We sat on a bench outside the store, and she told me that things with Jenna had ended badly. She started doing the same things to me that she did to us, Amanda explained, looking down at her hands. Isolating me from friends, criticizing everything I did. Sarah tried to warn me, but I would not listen. I just wanted to say, "I am sorry. I should have trusted what I knew about you instead of what someone else told me." There was an unspoken question in her eyes, an implied interest in reconnecting. A year ago, I might have jumped at the chance. But I had grown. "I appreciate the apology, Amanda," I said gently. "I hope you find healing and happiness. But I think we both need to move forward separately." The relief I felt walking away confirmed I had made the right choice. Sometimes the strongest decision is to keep walking, even when a door from your past reopens. I began dating again, approaching new relationships with wisdom rather than fear. I was more attuned to red flags in others, but also careful not to become paranoid or closed off. I communicated more clearly about my needs and boundaries, and I paid attention to how potential partners responded to that honesty. A year after the breakup, I met Mia at a friend's wedding. A pediatric nurse with a quick wit and genuine warmth, she valued direct communication and respected my need for occasional solitude. Our relationship developed slowly, built on a foundation of mutual respect and understanding. Looking back, I realize now that what happened with Amanda and Jenna taught me invaluable lessons. I learned to trust my instincts, to recognize manipulation tactics, to understand that in a healthy relationship, you should never have to constantly defend yourself against fabricated flaws. Perhaps most importantly, I learned that people who manipulate others often end up alone. Jenna lost Amanda the same way she helped Amanda lose me, by creating problems that did not exist, by undermining trust, by failing to recognize that real connections cannot be built on deception. Forgiveness came gradually. Not because either of them asked for it, but because holding on to anger only hurt me. Forgiveness did not mean reconciliation or forgetting what happened. It meant freeing myself from bitterness and moving forward with an open heart. Today, I am grateful for the experience, painful as it was. It shaped me into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Someone who values authenticity above all else. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved because you realized they never really knew you at all? Or have you had a friend try to sabotage your relationship? Share your story in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences that might help you navigate your own relationships. Remember, sometimes the people who try to point out red flags in others are waving the biggest red flags themselves. Thank you for listening to my story, and I wish you relationships built on trust and mutual respect.